The controversy surrounding the Grand Theft Auto video game began immediately at the time of its release. Opponents of the game still believe that it's harmful and can lead to aggressive behavior among the players.
Well, what I had some really good work there.
Moreover, they believe that the game promotes violence, theft, and other illegal activities, and its influence on younger players can be particularly dangerous. Is this really so? As in many other cases, the answer here is, it depends. If we had to say how we see it from our side, we believe that video games do not negatively affect the behavior of players. Of course, sometimes there are incidents where someone under the influence of the game, in theory, does something wrong in real life. However, most often, these are cases of people who already have some kind of mental illness. And that means the problem lies completely elsewhere, and the video game may only have been a trigger for this ticking bomb, which in fact can be triggered by anything. Researchers dealing with these topics say quite the same thing. For instance, one can cite the results of a study conducted in cyberpsychology, behavior, and social networking. That study found no correlation between growing up and spending time playing violent games and changing pro-social behavior. This is what made us decide to take on the topic of today's video and go a step further, checking what positive things we can take from this franchise and how the game warns us against some bad behavior. So the first aspect we would like to address is greed. This feature is a constant recurrence in the GTA series. Let's take Big Smoke, who's probably the best person to fit into this character trait. The man bravely fought side by side with family's homies for many years, but at some point, he stopped thinking about the gang and started thinking only about himself. Big Smoke's selfish approach and an offer he couldn't refuse from Tenpenny caused many tragedies in GTA San Andreas, such as the death of CJ's mother. Big Smoke lost himself in it, becoming one of the wealthiest people in the state of San Andreas at the cost of going against his conscience, hurting people he once cared about, all in the name of money and power.
I got caught up in the money. The power. I don't give a shit. Oh, fuck, man.
Following the saying, appetite comes with eating, Lance Vance from GTA Vice City was no different. After Lance and Tommy have dealt with Ricardo Diaz, Vance immediately began to dream about Vercetti promising him the moon. However, the case with Lance was completely different than with Big Smoke. Lance Vance wanted to earn as much as possible while forgetting to give something back. After all, killing Ricardo Diaz wasn't the end of the job. The business needed to be properly established, and Lance, unfortunately, could not take care of it, which we have witnessed many times. The man compulsively drowned his sorrows in alcohol, being embittered by the amount of money he received from Tommy, not understanding that it was conditioned by the fact that Tommy, despite being the boss, still did all the dirty work himself.
Tommy, we gotta talk about stuff.
What's the problem, Lance?
It's you, my friend. I feel you're not giving me a fair slice. And more than that, you've been embarrassing me in front of the boys. I can't have that.
Lance, it ain't like that. You've been making mistakes.
Tommy, I'm not your message boy. I'm not your running boy.
Lance, don't screw up and we won't have any problems. I screw up, you can lay into me anytime.
Tommy, I done everything for you. You treat me like a fool. Don't do that.
Lance, I won't rip you off or stab you in the back, okay? Just take it easy. This is tough enough without you getting all emotional on me. Trust me. Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
I hear you, Tommy, but I can't take this much more.
Lance, don't be like this. Now I'm warning you. Do you hear me? Just relax. Take a few days off, okay? I'll talk to you.
And taking into account that Lance was emotionally unstable, Lance was the type of person who was simply hard to fully please. He wanted more and more, but he gave nothing in return. Or at least we as players didn't see the commitment on his part. And yet another example of a character that we can pin to the category of greed is our beloved Roman Bellic. Although Niko Bellic's cousin is one of the coolest characters created in GTA, and it's very hard not to like him, at the same time, we can't speak highly of him. The man loves gambling, which is like a drug to him.
You're taking me to a backroom game where I'll win all the dollars we need to really see this town. Nightclubs, women, titties!
The problem is that Roman knows no boundaries. The man loses all his money in casinos, and in addition, he gets into debt with loan sharks, which only causes more trouble for him.
Come on, Daddy, what's your problem?
I don't have problem. You do.
Don't be a dick, man, come on!
Where's your Russian friend now, huh?
He's not my friend, he's my loan shark!
But that's nothing, because Roman's greed culminates just before choosing an ending in GTA 4. For those who don't know, there are two possible endings to the story in GTA 4. One is to not work with the traitor, Dmitri, and get justice by killing him. And the second one is to trust him again, really betraying the principles in the name of money. And because Roman loves money and big titties, hearing about the possibility of earning big with Dmitri, he persuades Niko to give Raskolov another chance.
Roman, I have a problem.
You've got the problem, Niko. I'm about to get married. I'm about to commit to one woman for the rest of my life.
This is serious, Roman. I have been asked to work for Dmitri Raskolov again. There could be a lot of money in it.
I heard you two had resolved your differences. He's on some boat in East Hook, right?
What, you knew about this? He's on a boat in East Hook?
Yeah, I heard you had forgiven him and we're working together. You're doing this deal, right?
Now that I know where Dmitri is, I might just go there and take him out instead. Have you forgotten that he burned down your apartment and business? That he arranged your kidnapping?
Now I have a better apartment and I'll have an even better one if you work with him again. Promise me you won't do anything hasty, cousin.
I have to think about it. Speak to you later.
For us, this is a total no-brain moment, because it is clear that if Niko has already been betrayed by Dmitri, there's a great chance that history will repeat itself the next time he'll try to work with him. This behavior of Roman is partly one of the reasons why we never choose this ending. However, if someone is tempted to listen to Niko's cousin and cooperate with Dmitri, he will of course expose Niko to almost certain death again.
Niko Bellic, it's so good to be working with you again.
I cannot say I have the same enthusiasm for this partnership. Have you given them the H? I want to get this money and go home.
You know what? I thought, why should we hand over the H for this price? I thought it'd be easier if I just killed those guys and kept it.
Easier for who? What the fuck are you doing? Me and Phil are in their compound. What's going to happen when they find out?
If I was you, I'd go and get the money off them. It has to be on the site. That way we all win. Good luck, Niko.
Fucking Dmitri. He's killed the guys collecting the stuff.
Shit, we're screwed. They ain't gonna let us leave.
But most importantly, soon after, Roman will die at his wedding.
Oh my god! As we had the opportunity to see in all these examples, greed has never paid off for any character in the game. Each time for all these people, you can say that karma came back to them. So as you can see, the developers made it clear that we should control our financial tendencies, because they can, to put it bluntly, end badly for us. Moving on, another topic discussed in the world of GTA that fits perfectly for today's episode is undoubtedly drugs. Victor Vance is a must-have character in this category. After all, he's the only main character in the GTA series who wasn't a bad person at first, like the other protagonists. Yes, he may have not been a saint, and it might seem that he had slightly criminal inclinations, but considering that the other protagonists did much worse things, Victor is like an angel compared to them. From the very beginning of the game, we can see that Victor does not want to get involved in drugs and other criminal activities. After all, he tries his best to get money for his sick brother Pete, but in the end, he is lured by Jerry Martinez's trickery.
Listen, man, I need a broad, huh? Oh, I need Mary. Mary, yeah. Oh, Mary, quite contrary.
Hidden under your bed? And who the Sam Hill is this?
Hey, buddy. Listen, I charge more for groups.
You brought a whore onto the base? Have you no shame, boy? Are you a moron? Is that it? Drugs, whores, you're out of here, soldier. You're a disgrace!
This, in turn, has many negative effects. Victor Vance is increasingly into drugs. His businesses become fronts for drug activities, and drug distribution is one of the key branches of his criminal empire. Just as in The Godfather, Michael Corleone wanted to get away from the gangster life, and so it was with Victor, although it is worth noting that this is an example of a different kind. Well, at the end of the storyline, Victor Vance eliminates Jerry Martinez and Diego Mendez, who stood in his way to finally leave this nasty world of drugs far behind him.
Hey, listen. Now that things are straight with Diaz, we should get out of town or lay low for a little while, you know?
Yeah, you're right, man.
Look, I'm gonna send some money to Pete.
Cool. But bro, I don't want you thinking it's just about you. That is all about you.
Hey, I don't. It's about you, me, Pete, Mom, wherever the hell
But
she
wait,
is.
I've been making moves. I got a hold of 20 keys,
Are you
man.
crazy? Get rid of it.
No, all we gotta do is sit on it. It's hidden out of sight, out of town, man. We lay low and then sell it.
No, I am not interested. Got it?
However, as we know from GTA Vice City, in the end, Victor is persuaded by his brother to re-enter this world, ultimately paying for it with his own life. Staying on the subject of drugs, another character who fell victim to it was Ken Rosenberg. An incompetent lawyer from Vice City made a friendship with the future drug lord, which on the one hand was a success for him, and on the other hand was his undoing. While we can admit that Rosenberg missed his calling when it comes to his profession, his submissiveness to drugs caused him to regret it very quickly, eventually living on the sidewalk. Despite that, Ken Rosenberg was still loyal to Vercetti. His usefulness to the gang was simply negligible. Vercetti could no longer fully trust his lawyer in finding various useful legal tricks because the guy was high on cocaine all the time. Another person who we believe has suffered severely from drugs is Maria Latore. Like many young women, Maria Latore had many opportunities to start her adult life. The woman could go to college or go abroad, but she decided to do something else. Namely, she became a waitress at the Caligula Casino. There were many indications that Maria no longer had many prospects for leading a wealthy life, until suddenly Salvatore appeared, who took her under his wing. Some players would say that getting involved with Salvatore was the best choice in Maria's life from a financial point of view, but in reality it was a dead end for her. Within weeks, the woman had become Salvatore's toy. Maria found herself in a big city full of drugs, with a lot of cash in her wallet. The woman began to use drugs very quickly, becoming incredibly addicted to them. Years of drug use made Maria even more dependent on Salvatore, with whom she clung to only to continue living in abundance and to satisfy her drug hunger. Apart from the fact that she couldn't do it since Salvatore wouldn't forgive her, that would be a big mistake. It can be said that a prosperous, wealthy life, which in theory should bring Maria a lot of happiness, actually destroyed her, both physically and mentally. Summing up this part, it's easy to see that the developers did not want to show drugs in a good light. With minor exceptions such as Tommy Vercetti, those who are more exposed to drugs very quickly were left on their own with the Great Depression like Ken or Maria, or were killed as was the case with Vic Vance. Rockstar made it clear that drugs are no fun. At first, we have a great time after using them, or making good money thanks to them, and then we end up at the bottom of the ocean. Moving on, the next thing on our list is the idea that the ends justify the means. These are situations where a given character wants to achieve something at all costs, often resorting to impure methods. The first person who almost immediately comes to mind is the serial killer from GTA 3, Marty Chonks. The owner of the dog food factory, Bitchin' Dog Food, finds himself in serious trouble after Liberty City's dog ban is still upheld. With bankruptcy imminent, Marty Chonks grabs every possible means to keep the factory in check. The man begins to take loans and debts that he's unable to repay. Marty even tries to scam the insurance company to extort compensation. Unfortunately, it doesn't give much anyway, and finally, Chonks comes up with an idea to get rid of people step by step who may pose a threat to a super plan to save the factory. So Marty asks Claude to liquidate a few people, usually people who are his creditors. In the beginning, the man wants the protagonist to pick up the bank manager who has started to raise the loan installment.
He's a crooked bastard that keeps bumping up the loan repayment so he can cut a slice. Take my car, pick him up, and bring him back here. I got a little surprise for that blood-sucking leech.
After we bring the bank manager to Marty, he brutally murders him in the factory and turns him into dog food. Another time, he orders Claude to meet two robbers who were hired by Chonks to break into his apartment and steal some things, all to try to get compensation from the insurance company. In the end, the robbers threatened to report it if they didn't get more money for the job, so Marty Chonks gets rid of them too. And yet another time, Marty concludes that his wife is spending too much money, so he decides to kill her as well. Unfortunately for him, this still does not solve the factory's financial problems, and what's worse, it turns out that one of Marty's creditors is the lover of his late wife. Convinced of the reliability of his new way of getting out of debt, confident Marty wants to do exactly what he did to the other victims with Carlos. However, through a strange twist of fate, Carlos is not going to stand by and kills Marty on the spot right outside the factory door without hesitation.
Carl, hi. I need more time to get your money. But if you just step into my office...
It's far too late for that, Marty. You had your chance, but now I'm taking over the business.
Loser!
Another example that somewhat confirms this rule is the story of Leon McCaffrey. McCaffrey, as one of the many corrupt cops throughout the Grand Theft Auto series, is not entirely satisfied with his overly high remuneration as a police officer and decides to earn extra money cunningly by serving a few local gangs in Liberty City. As you probably remember from GTA Liberty City stories, Leon McCaffrey seemed to be a good guy. The man helped the Leones get rid of the Forellis and Sindacos on Staunton Island, which was perfectly fine and could decide about the aftermath of the Great War between the crime families. On the other hand, Leon also decided to help the Uptown Yardies, which were a minor criminal organization in Liberty City. It was primarily on the initiative of Tony Cipriani that Uptown Yardies took over the Newport district. And yet, after completing the task, we discovered that the Jamaicans are not friendly to us, although we helped them. On the one hand, we gained that the Forellis were pushed to Shoreside Vale, but on the other hand, we don't have any new territories because those areas belong to the Jamaicans. It's worth noting that McCaffrey used not only the Leones' trust, but also Ray Machowski, who was a good cop during GTA LCS. Since Ray Machowski was a constant eyewitness to various scams on the part of his partner, he gradually became just like him. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the feds found out 3 years later about all of McCaffrey's scams. And what does Leone do to avoid responsibility? Well, he wants to testify against Ray Machowski, who was his most trusted person 3 years ago. However, the situation with McCaffrey repeats itself as with Marty Chonks. Machowski orders Claude to kill Leon, which he succeeds in doing. Admittedly only the second time, but the result counts. It can therefore be easily seen that these two stories created by the developers clearly show that sooner or later, Judgment Day will come. No matter how many people are eliminated, trying to reach the goal at all costs can quickly turn against you. That's another lesson that can be learned from this game series by analyzing some moments from the plot. To sum up today's video, Grand Theft Auto games can not only provide a lot of entertainment related to the use of violence, but they can also teach us something really important. While playing the titles of the cycle, many times we can come across threads that do not approve of certain actions and are kind of a warning for the player in the future. Because although in GTA, we can afford a lot of immoral things, and what's more, we're getting rewarded for it, Rockstar North consciously tries to leave the player with the belief that being a bad person with many negative features such as egoism or a disrespectful attitude to other people are attributes that don't pay off in real life. Do you think the GTA series can teach us how to be better people? We're waiting for your comments. Meanwhile, that would be all. We recommend you watch 2 videos that are currently shown on the screen. Thanks for watching and see you in the next episode. Bye!